Welcome, everybody. I am Michelle Aska. This is Frank Oso.
Hello there.
And we are your hosts of Disturbed and Confused. So we have a great show tonight. I don't know why my phone is not letting me. Oh, there we go.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie move.
Oh my god.
At least it wasn't you this time.
Yeah, I know. That's a relief.
Mickey won't yell at you.
I'm being good today.
All right. So we are actually waiting for our amazing guests to sign on.
Can you tell the theme of the show?
Yeah, can you tell?
Is there any way you could tell?
Let's go, Islanders.
I think it would be pretty discreet. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm very excited tonight because I'm a big fan. And I know you're not, but you will be after the show.
I was an Islander fan growing. I wasn't big into hockey, but I've had my team.
What sport? What did you watch?
Baseball and football.
Okay. I wonder where our guest is. I'm getting a little worried.
Yeah.
I know that.
Hi, Cindy.
Where he is. Hey, Cindy. I know where he is. It's an hour earlier.
It's in Canada, right?
Yeah, and I know I gave him the right time. I'm not that blonde.
Oh, maybe. What if there was a miscommunication with the?
No, there wasn't. Okay. We cleared it up a couple of times.
Okay.
Hi, sure Ann Rothney saying hello. Good evening, Michelle and Frank. Hello.
Hi, Ann. I can't see it, but
you can see it right there.
I got my glasses today.
Oh, our guest is joining us. I see him in there. We're going to add him in a minute, but I am going to introduce him first. Retired, amazing New York Islander, Rich Pilon. Hello.
Hey, how's she going?
How are you?
Very, very good. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. here, actually. I thought we were on at 8, so. God, I was like, what? What do you mean by okay? I'm like, what? Yeah, it's all good, though.
That's all right. So how's things in Canada?
It's pretty hot here right now.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's like bacon here. It's like, it was 37 here today.
And what is that in?
You mean it's hot?
Yeah, it's 37 there.
Oh, that's
what Celsius.
Right. I don't know.
No.
Probably twice that?
Yeah, we're probably twice. No, we're more than twice that.
Yeah.
We'd be like, I think that would be, I don't even know, actually. I could Google it if you want.
Probably the 80s.
Hey, I know for a fact you were not a blonde back in the day, so you have no excuse to not know that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, too, by the way.
Oh, God, it's my pleasure. You have no idea, in fact, what a big fan I was of yours back in the day.
Oh, awesome. Great to hear.
Yeah.
So my
best... still am.
I am, obviously. Can you tell the jerseys?
Yeah.
Listen, if I wasn't married, I might, take a trip to Canada. I might just do that.
Yeah.
Hey.
Anyway.
A one-way ticket.
Yeah, right. I wish. Anyway, sorry, hubby. But back in the day, in my 20s, my best friend Dawn and I, we would get in her car and we would go stalk you guys while you were practicing. And we would watch you and we would watch Brian Berard and we would take pictures. I actually have a picture somewhere of her and I with you.
Really?
And then her and I with Brian Berard as well. I couldn't find it. It's been many years.
How do you lose that?
You and I are the same age, Rich, so it's hard to keep track of things, as you know.
Yeah, time flies, doesn't it?
It really does. I can't believe it.
What year was that? When was that?
It was in the 90s, like 94, 95.
Rich, you played till 94, right?
I played with the Islanders till, I think it was like 97?
97?
That late. Okay.
98, 98 actually, because my son Garrett was born in New York in 1998.
Oh.
So in 99 is when I went to the Rangers, actually.
Right.
Boo!
Yeah. I know.
Boo!
Took them a while to take a liking to me. I can tell you that much. Geez, they were like tough on me the first 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just from being an Islander and kind of, there's such a great rivalry there that it was one of those. Yeah, it was awesome actually. But they were good. I can't complain. It was I definitely wouldn't have wanted to start with the Rangers.
Yeah.
Because they do treat you very, very well there. And I have no complaints about the Islanders, but the Rangers are just were at another level when the ownership was like, obviously they They had their own plane, and they took really good care of you.
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
great.
Yeah,
Great.
really good. So,
wow.
How about venues? Did you prefer one over the other? Because the Garden.
you know, not really, because just when we had that run in '93 with the Islanders, it was, you always hear the stories of like the older players, like the Trotskys, and how they talked, how how it just was so loud in that building, and we got to be part of that. And both buildings are what I love about New York on both ends is that and I always say this as I'm a Canadian, but on the American side of things, I believe that Americans are just more patriotic. And when it comes to their athletes, like the teams, whether they're such diehards.
Yeah.
And I don't see that here in Canada as much. Like, I really don't, and I don't know why that is. But when I look at the Islanders and the Rangers, it's just the rivalry with the teams, the fans. They are just they bleed their colors, and I think that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's my hat off to both teams, right, and their fans.
Yeah, definitely, especially those two. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, how did you get the hockey bug? I mean, I just want to know how you started all together. Were you like really little when you started?
No, I wasn't actually. I grew up. I grew up in a small town on the river. It was called St. Louis.
Okay.
And I didn't start playing like organized hockey till I was 9.
Wow.
I was always, never really skated a lot, but I did go into, like, back then it was power skating.
Right.
And I got secondhand skates, and we couldn't afford to couldn't afford to play on a team right away.
Right.
And when we finally did get to play, it was kind of I guess I had naturally a gift, because if I look back in when I, in my world back then, and a lot of players' world, was that my ignorance of pecking orders and where I belonged on the team, that because of that, I never read into anything. I just played the game because I love to play, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And when I watch my son now go through it as he's really close to, I think, to crack in the NHL lineup. He just needs an opportunity.
Okay.
But
where is he now? Where is your son now?
He's with the Capitals.
Okay.
Oh, right.
So he's in his bridge contract with them. So he's in his last year of his second contract with them. But he's got to make his own way, and it's but he knows, like, the pecking order, who he's got to beat out. Where when I was trying to make the Islanders, I really had no clue.
Really?
And I remember players like Dean Chanel, or not Sean Byram. And so Bowen Byram, that plays for the Colorado Avalanche, his dad was drafted by the Islanders. Him and I were good friends. And I remember when we were at camp, my first 2 training camps in New York, I basically was there for a song and a dance, and they would see you later, thanks for coming. When I was 20, when I was getting the opportunity to go to which I remember leaving Prince Albert, which are my junior team with the Prince Albert Raiders. And my coach back then said, don't be upset if you get sent back to junior, because you've only played 2 years of tier 1, like junior hockey, which was like when I was 18 and 19.
Right.
And in my mind, I was like, well, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm planning on making the Islanders.
Yeah.
That was my mentality and my attitude. It wasn't about, and then, partway through camp, I remember back then everybody wasn't as mixed like they were now. You had the pros, and then you had the draft picks. And if you got picked out of the draft picks and got pulled up to the pro practice, then they're taking a look at you. And that's kind of what happened to me. And then Baizy's like, you're getting a chance. And kind of was, I played, I think, 9 out of the 10 exhibition games. And then when they're really taking a good look at you, it was between me and Dean Chanel. And then we ended up both being able to stick there. And then, my faith was that I got the opportunity to play more once Dean got hurt. And that kind of was the start of my career with the Islanders. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So yeah, there's always opportunity. And that's the part where I think with my son, that I always say, like, he's a great kid. He works hard. He does all the things the right way, except for me, like, he's a gentleman player. He's a very gentleman player.
Okay.
He scores goals. And my advice to him is, you got to play a little bit more FU in your game.
Right.
A little bit more, like, if you're not pissing somebody else off on the team, even though you're a goal scorer.
Well,
because he's going to have to come in with Washington as a fourth line guy, right? You're not going to get popped into the lineup and be put at center between or with Oshie or with Lars Eller. So the fourth line guys that are there, they already think they're better than Garrett today. To me, that's if I was the organization of the Capitals. Well, okay, so then Garrett, you got to come in and play like a fourth liner. You can't play like your goal scoring, your playmaking. You got to be hounding on pucks. You got to finish checks.
Right.
And he's better at it now, and he's getting better. He just needs a chance. That's all. Because he's always been a little bit of a late bloomer when it comes to making a team.
Right,
He's kind of always flies under the radar, and you guys are like, oh, he's a good hockey player. There's always a but.
Right.
And but once he gets going and he gets a little bit of confidence and he feels that love that you need to feel from an organization, he seems to just kind of flourish that way. And most players do, whether it be at the hockey level or the NBA, whatever it may be. Once you feel that a team likes you, that it's with me with the Islanders. I had so many guys in my corner, right? Once they saw the way I played, my attitude, my work ethic, my compete, everything was like. And then I got kind of Al Arbor just kind of groomed me, is how I always tell people, that he basically groomed me to be a shutdown defenseman and take pride in that, where players today want the goal scorers, they want to score goals, they want points, right? And points means you make more money. Right. So, and back in our day, nobody knew what everybody was making for the first. Yeah. So, so it's a real. To me, like the game itself is the game is better. It'll always be better. When they talk about different players when they talk about, the Gretzky, is he better than McDavid? Well, nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever know.
Right.
But the generational players like the Crosby, the McDavid, the Gretzkys, the Mary Lemieux, those guys in their eras, no matter what, the Trottiers, the Bossies, they will always be the best at that era.
Right.
And you can sit here and everybody tries to critique, and I'm sure you've seen it where, well, the Gretzky wouldn't score goals or would score less goals because the pads are bigger now, right?
Right.
Well, then McDavid, okay, Gretzky scored and Mario scored goals with guys like, when I look at the game, my whole VHS, we were like hanging on guys.
Yeah.
We were like holding, we were clutching and grabbing. It was almost like a football, almost like rugby at times.
It was very exciting.
Yeah,
I couldn't stop watching. My dad was a big hockey fan, and now it's changed a lot.
You think it's evolved or devolved from that?
No, I think it's evolved. I think the game is faster. I think it's faster, but it's so I don't know how in the age that I grew up is basically you put your work boots on, you go to work, and you do your job, and you go home.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
In today's game, it's like, the entitlement of players, including my son, believe that my points are better than this guy over here, so I should be getting a better opportunity. Well, that's not the way the world works, or it shouldn't. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You need somebody to like you. You need somebody to think that you got to do something different. You got to do something that's going to make you stand out.
Right.
And I tell Garrett this. I say, Garrett, if I watch you play as a dad, I can sit there and watch your game and go, you do all these things great.
Right.
These little things, these little plays that I notice you make, those are great hockey. But I said, a fan wants excitement. So I said, if I'm a fan now, I'm probably not that excited.
Right.
That makes sense? Unless you score a goal.
Oh, listen, there were many games that I had gone to where everybody's just skating around, passing the puck, and there was no action, where the fans literally started to boo. I mean,
really?
Going way back. And they were like, come on, we want some action. Come on, check somebody. Throw somebody into the boards. That's what they wanted. Yeah. Now it's changed a little bit.
But just fast. It's a fast game now. It's all about speed. It's all about, the sticks are better, the skates are lighter, equipment's lighter. So it's everything's just better.
More modernized.
Yeah, it's more modern.
Training, everything, right?
Everything's better. So it's, the game is where they're going to go. It'll keep getting better, and there'll be other generational players coming in, and you'll be comparing them to the McDavids down the road. And, so, yeah.
Did I tell you, Rich, that I had the honor of working under Mr. Michael Bossy?
Oh, I didn't know that. Where was that?
I did. It was at Nassau Coliseum with the business club. And I was a massage therapist, the lead therapist, and I was up in all the suites. So I got to
Oh.
see everybody, and Mike Bossy was my boss. I would meet
Oh,
with
really?
him every game beforehand, before we went
Yeah.
up to the suites. And I was in an elevator with Chara, and I looked like I was 5 standing next to him. The guy is giant. My God, how tall is he? Like
6'9".
6'9", right?
Yeah, he's 7. He's just over 7 feet with skates on.
Yeah.
Oh
My God. Yeah, he happened to be on the injured list. So I looked at him, and first of all, I knew he was a hockey player, and I knew exactly who he was. And I turned around, I'm like, listen, I'm a lot smaller than you. Can you help me with my chair, my massage chair? And he just like looked at me and gave like a little chuckle, but he was on the injured list, so he wasn't very happy.
Yeah, he's probably one of the I like one of the kind of a neat story when Garrett got called up to play his first really as an exhibition game a couple of years ago, just before COVID, and Z texts me. Like I still talk to Z through text probably once a month, probably just to kind of touch base and see how he's doing. And I just respect the guy so much. But anyways, when he was on the island, he used to carry my kids around because him and Zygmunt Palffy would come over to the house on Thanksgiving or one of our Christmas dinners, whatever. They would show up, and I always invited them. But he used to carry Garrett around a lot of times, right?
Okay.
So then when Garrett went to Washington, they got to play together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of they had a little bit of a story on it because V was like, "This is so weird." Like, I'm playing with your son now, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, you're a fossil."
Rich, I have a question.
Yep.
Somebody's saying, ask Rich, as an enforcer, who did he like to play against, and was there anybody you feared?
Awesome question. Yeah.
I wouldn't say there was ever. I think there's always a bit of fear, no matter what. I think that's what motivates most. So when I say fear, I look at fear as a way to go, okay. So if you're fearful of somebody, so how do you always tell somebody if you're afraid of something, you hit it you attack it face on or head on, whatever it is. But I think Probert would have been like, there were so many guys back in the day that were tough, like Probert, the Browns, Marty McSorley. Like there was just a lot of tough meat potato guys.
Right.
Whereas as the game got going and there was, when Conroy started doing, when he was doing steroids.
Yeah.
When the steroids started coming in, you seen the difference in guys. They just, it was a different toughness. Mm-hmm. Whereas like for me as a player, because I played mostly with either a number 1 or number 2 D-man on the teams, I was always considered a top 2 pairing. And usually always on the top pairing because I always complimented usually the best defenseman.
Right.
Then you always end up playing against the first and second line guys most of the game.
Right.
Right. Unless you're, when we win the playoff. But, so you're playing against. So my goal was as a player was to abuse the top guys as much as I can to get them more worried about trying to get me or take me out. Let's get Pilon or whatever instead of worrying about winning the game. Right. So then the enforcers would come out and back then it was like I was telling guys this just about a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about this, how we used to set it up. If we were out of the game or up in a game and we had to get somebody, we're like, okay, who's going to start the line brawl, and which 2 guys are going to try and get that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I was also on the other end of it sometimes, and I know like my coaches managed me sometimes to get me out of those situations. But late in the game, sometimes they'd be like, "Oh, here it comes."
Right.
So it's just a totally different era, and there was more of that intimidation, and now it's just it's different now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So who was your mentor when you first started hockey? Like who were you like? Oh, I want to be like him.
Right. Yeah.
I always wanted to be like Guy Lafleur.
Okay.
That was my idol. So he was growing up, I was a Montreal Canadian fan and a New York Islander fan. Those were my 2 teams growing up. And I picked an American team and a Canadian team because my thinking probably as a kid was that, well, if hopefully one of them, but when I look at it, I picked the 2 best teams at the time.
You did.
There you go.
Yeah, I did. Right? So I must have been I was jumping on the bandwagon more than likely, right? So, but I watched a lot more Canadian because of we only had 2 channels. So Hockey Night in Canada I'd watch Montreal or Toronto, and I got to see those guys and didn't get to see the other, like the Islanders, until playoff time, right? So Guy Lafleur was definitely my mentor and an idol, and just one of the guys that I always looked up to and wanted. When I was on the street, I was always Guy Lafleur. right? So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Good to know.
Rich,
Good to
your
know.
nickname in NFL was Chief, correct?
yeah, it was, yeah.
What-
And
how-
funny because I'm Métis, that I'm part Cree.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I'm
Okay.
Cree. Yeah, so I and with the Cree, like the way it's kind of just in my last year here, after the stuff I've been going through, but like you have like the First Nations and you have the Cree, you have Dakota, you have the Americans. I think it's Navajo. There's out there, right?
Right.
And then you have the white people, I guess, right here in the French. Well, the Métis people are basically a mix of French who were getting involved with First Nation women. And that's how the Métis became. So, and the Métis were never really recognized till they just now they're recognized as their own, they have an identity.
Right.
For the longest time, the Métis people didn't have an identity. You were Métis, but you were a half-breed, but you weren't really white and you weren't First Nation.
Yeah, right.
And now in Canada, we have guys like Glenn McCullum, who's been the president of the Métis Society here in Canada now, and has really taken. So now they're recognized as a body. Like we have a place where for the longest time they didn't. So now there's governance. There's a lot of things. So I'm sure you've heard a lot about with the residential schools.
Yeah.
Have you heard of some of that at all in Canada and the U.S. here?
Not. I don't think so.
No.
Have you?
So
No?
so these residential schools were basically, which is crazy when you think of way back when, basically the government of Canada was saying, you know what, we're going to teach we're going to take the First Nation kids and the Métis kids out of their homes and put them into like white schools and make them be white. It's crazy. But what happened was through all this, so they were basically the government was giving money to the Catholics for these Métis and First Nation kids to go to learn to be a white guy.
Wow.
But what happened was there was a lot of abuse physically and sexually. And then, and a lot of these, so what happened here in Canada in the last probably 2 years, 3 years, the government basically went out and they weren't allowing the First Nations to really wear these. Some people lost sisters, brothers, and didn't know where they went. Well, now they've found a lot of these unmarked graves around these residential schools that where they were basically dumping the bodies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's a residential school. It's a big deal. So now all of these survivors, older that have went through it, who saw some of their friends that never would leave and never come back. Well, they were actually so whatever happened, they'd get buried. Well, now in Canada, they found where these residential schools were. They brought in these things that you can see through the ground, and there's a lot of unmarked graves.
Wow.
And so now it's a big deal. So it's blown out here, and now the government is trying to make things right by giving them money, and it's just a mess actually. But it's good for the Métis and the First Nation because it's making the government of Canada, I guess, accountable. And the Catholic system, right? So, anyways, a little bit of as a proud Métis now, with my Métis card, I'm getting honestly. I was coaching hockey, and then I got fired in last July. It was basically a shit show. And
where were you coaching?
I was coaching a junior A team by the name Weyburn Red Wings. They were junior A hockey. So I was basically going to make coaching a second career, but I spent as much time with my son and my family as long as I could until Garrett got on his way, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to try and take a kid, because I'm really good with kids, I believe, and teaching.
Right. Well, you've been coaching. You volunteered, right? Teaching young kids and
I did minor hockey, all that stuff, all the way up, and had a lot of, like, we had some really good little hockey players that turned pro, and they're all, like, including my son. And
how old is Garrett now?
He's 24. He's a 98 born, so he's in his window's not closing yet. He's still got a great opportunity. He's still young enough so he's going to hopefully get an opportunity and get a chance. But like when I was coach, when I went into coaching, I thought this is what I want to do. I'm going to, I'm good. I got, I tried to do it everywhere different than as a parent, because there was nothing worse as a parent to sit up and look at night and going, what the F is that guy doing with my team, with my kid, right? So I had a really open door policy, and I got along with parents. I said, listen, I'm black and white. I don't beat around the bush.
Right.
If you want to talk to me and be a friend, but if you're talking to me, be a friend because you're trying to work your kid up the lineup, it will not work with me.
Hey,
Good.
Right.
But I go, if you got a question and you're up at night and you're wondering what the hell I think I'm doing with your kid, I will tell you.
Yeah.
And, I will tell you what, and it doesn't mean I'm right,
Right.
but I can maybe give you an understanding that you may understand why I'm doing things the way I am. Right.
That happened to me. I understand that. I used to coach boys baseball and girls softball as well. And then I actually coached a co-ed team. And the parents would try and kiss my butt to like get me to change the lineup and who's going to play first base. And I'm like, come on, this is like little league baseball. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I always look at it like I'm such a jokester, like, and I'm, and I'm like, I'm a jokester at heart. I love to have fun.
Me too.
I'll
That's
use
why
my,
we love Doug so much.
I'll use my sexual, I'll use sexual innuendos, but be very careful how I use them.
Not on this show.
So I'll be like this. I'll be like, I used to play these pranks on parents. Like when I first started coaching, like it was so funny actually. I would be like, I would tell, okay, your kid's on the team, to the mom and be like, now it's up to you on which line he plays.
That's great.
And I was doing like initiation, like coaching like initiation, right? Like the kids are like so young. And I'd be doing my team meeting and saying, it's about having fun and it's blah, blah, blah. But just a couple things we got to clear the air with is that. And I would look around the room and watch like my team that I've picked, the parents, there's 17 families usually on back then. And I'd be like, okay, I only prefer moms to tie skates. And I would look around the room. What that means. And I would look around the room and I would see moms like looking at their husbands, like going like, what's wrong with this guy? Is he really And I'd be like, well, it's not, I know what you guys are thinking, but it's more about, I don't want the dads to use their physical strength to tie their skates really tight.
Right.
Because the way the skates are now, if you want to strengthen your kids' ankles, loose. Let them a little bit loose. Let them, you know what I mean? Where everybody's like cranking on them, and it was a joke. But once, obviously, my parents get to know exactly what I'm about, and it's all fun and games. It's like it's supposed to be fun. So
of course, sure,
I have a picture. Where did it go? I wanted to show.
I love coaching little kids.
We have some viewers throwing out questions. Someone's asking a good one. Who are some of the best scorers you defended against in your career?
Yes.
I would say like Mario was like, because we had such a rivalry with Pittsburgh. And I think Mario, even like Kovalev, like there was guys that you just like, you would play against and you'd be like, oh my God. And you knew going into the game, you're like, I was going to be playing against certain guys. And you're like, okay, just don't get embarrassed.
Right.
Hopefully you can shut them down, and obviously with some of these players, but Mario, Gretzky, those guys, Pavel Bure, there's so many guys. Like you're playing with the best. There's 700 athletes, and the better ones that are goal scorers, they're like they're just different. I used to. I don't know if you remember the stick swinging contest with Mary Lemieux. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't think I did.
Oh my God, you guys have to Google that one. If you get a chance, you'll Google it. If that would be today, I might get a year suspension.
Really?
Honestly,
I know. I've seen some of the some of your clips.
I actually turned my stick into like it was like a weapon.
Real? Wow.
It was bad. Like it was really, really. But you know what it was? Me and Darius Kasparaitis were partners, and we were playing against Mario.
I love Darius. He was
so we were playing against Mario and Ronnie Francis and Yager.
Okay.
And we were 9 minutes in, we were down 4-0, and Casper, well, I call Darius, his nickname's Casper.
Yeah.
Like Casper and I were like -4.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, 2 of the goals were my fault.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, I just got to get out of this game. Like, this is ridiculous. I need out.
Yeah.
I got to do something stupid. I don't want to play anymore.
Oh,
So Mario went by our bench, and I turned my stick over, like my toe, like the point, and I whacked him. I was trying to get him on the side of the elbow here, and I slashed him. Well, he turned around and came at me, cross-checked me, knocked my helmet up. Well, then this was my cue to go, okay, I'm out of here now. If he's going to use his stick, I'm using mine.
Yeah.
And I started like using mine like this,
yeah.
trying to hit him. And yeah, I got 2 games.
2 games,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, 2 games I got.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
And if you did something like that today, you'd probably be suspended for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I could imagine.
when you guys Google it, it's bad. It's really bad.
I'm gonna check that out.
What year was that, Rich?
That would have been that's when Mario got Hodgkin's.
Oh, okay, right.
And this is why, and I after the fact, I did apologize to him later on in the season. When I played against him, I apologized and just said, listen, I'm really sorry. And then he goes, listen, I was dealing with cancer and everything else. He goes, so I apologize too for what I did. Because none of what he did was on tape, right? Just me. And so, yeah, I have a lot of respect. Mario's a really good guy.
Yeah. So, how bad did you feel with the Kevin Stevens hit?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
You know what? You always feel bad when anybody gets hurt.
Of course.
Right? Like when you see someone that's severely hurt, it doesn't matter whether it's a teammate or if you don't like somebody. I'll never wish ill on anybody. That's, it was just a bad situation with Kevin at that time because of into that series and playing against him. Darius and I were in their kitchen and we were like, we were dominating Mario and them at the time. And Kevin just wanted to take me out. And it was a touch icing and there was no need for him to come through. And and I kind of played like I didn't see him. And at the last second, just jumped right into him. So,
and you went flying back as much as he did.
Right.
Oh, I was out the back door. I was gone. Yeah. I was. He went up and I went back.
Right.
Yeah. And I got to, after we obviously played with Kevin after with the Rangers. He's one of those guys that everybody loves. He's a glue. I call him. He's a glue guy on a team. He hangs out with everybody. He's got no preference. He doesn't care white, black, pecking order. He's just a good guy. Right. And he's doing. I think he's doing now with all the crap he went through and everything else. I think he's doing fairly well. And he's had some pretty good guys in his corner, like Mario, Pockets, and those guys have really taken him on there and trying to help him out, which is really good to see.
Right.
Definitely.
Rich, we have to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're going to come right back. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you all back here in a minute.
Yeah, you can ask me anything you guys want.
Awesome.
Great.
Hello, Michael Asti here for Ask the Law. One of the most common questions I'm asked is, Michael, how long will it take for my case to be finished? That's a great question. Over the many years we've been handling cases for injured people, we've learned a lot about the insurance companies we deal with. Some insurance companies will make a client a fair offer early on, and we're happy to get our client's case settled. However, others will drag a client's case out until we're on the steps of the courthouse ready for trial, as I am today. At Ask the Law, we've been representing injured people in accidents for many years, and we know how these companies operate. Give us a call if you or someone you know has been injured in an accident. We're happy to help. It's a free consultation. At Ask the Law, having a lawyer doesn't cost. It pays. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Keys Love Jewelry and Keys Cutlery. Keys Love Jewelry, stainless steel jewelry for men and women at affordable pricing, guaranteed to never tarnish or turn. And Keys Cutlery, a cut above the rest, specializing in hunting, camping, fantasy, everyday use, and self-defense equipment for your personal safety. Keys Love Jewelry and Keys Cutlery are both located inside Retro Relics at 2860 Middle Country Road, Lake Grove, New York. That's inside Retro Relics at 2860 Middle Country Road, Lake Grove, New York. Check their websites out at keyslovejewelry.com and keyscutlery.com. That's keyslovejewelry.com and keyscutlery.com. Got a question? Give them a call. 631-379-1781. That's 631-379-1781. Keys Love Jewelry and Keys Cutlery.
You eating again? That's it. Now you got hit by a pup.
My first time getting hit by a pup. Nice molding you got there.
Oh my God. Hello back. We are back again. I just hit him with my fake little Islanders hockey puck.
Oh, really?
He has a habit of eating when we go live, and he's not paying attention when we go live.
Am I supposed to eat food?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Rich, I want to show you this picture. Can you see this picture? Is there a glare?
There, now I see it. Yep, there it is. Yep.
Those are my twins. You see what they're wearing?
Islander one, and then the other one's got a.
They're both Islanders.
Oh, how old are they?
Now they're going to be 19.
That's them.
19, eh? Wow, that's awesome.
19. They're both in college. One's pre-med, one's pre-law.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're great kids, and they both love the Islanders. So I did something right.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the Kevin Stevens incident, that was named the worst freak accident to ever occur on the ice. Does that still hold water today? Is it still like the worst one?
Well, I would say there's that one, and then there's the one with Clint Malarchuk, with the goalie. Yeah, I think those would be the two that would be really,
right?
Yeah.
Oh my
God. I would think those two would be the two that were really freak and change the path of their somewhat of their life, I guess, right? Clint's dealing with his own stuff, and so is Kevin, and we all are, I guess. But I always wonder that as you get older, I'm like, Jesus, is this when everything starts to change? When I'm going through menopause or something? God, I'm like, you think differently as you get older.
What do you do now? Tell me what you do now. What does Rich Pilon do now?
Well, I was going to put my cowboy hat on because I do a thing. I've got a business that I run. It's called In Stride Equine Therapy.
Love it. So
we got obviously In Stride. I was thinking of the hockey stride, and because of my passion with hockey, but also my passion with horses. So what through the COVID times and everything being shut down, and then obviously going through what I went through a year ago, and I'm in a lawsuit now with Weyburn over my coaching. I always, another thing got thrown in my lap, and a friend of mine who I hadn't talked to her in 17 years. I actually fired her at the racetrack at the time when she was like 20.
Oh, wow.
But she worked for me. And then anyway, she came back into my life as a partner of this business. And she's a behavioral therapist, so she works with a lot of kids on the spectrum.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So we she's put the package in with me. So let's say for the winter time, we do a thing called Horses and Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into northern communities like First Nation, Métis communities, far north. And I do my talk on addictions.
Okay.
What I went through addictions right at the end of my career. I don't know if you guys knew that at all. I don't think you guys probably don't, right? Or do you guys know that?
I knew.
You knew. So I went through addictions right at the end of my career. And then, I talk to the kids about hopefully reaching out to the one kid or anyone that's going to hopefully, I'm open about my mental illness, depression I've gone through. I'm open about all that stuff. And, and I did at one time try and take my life, but didn't succeed.
Thank God.
This is when I was right in the thick of the drugs and just didn't know there was a way out, right? And
no, Rich, you're very brave for doing everything that you do and talking about this and trying to help kids stay away from it. Yeah. I really praise you for that.
Yeah, thank you. And I think when you see, like, when you go to these northern communities, they're isolated. Like, it's a tough place, right? And we found with the horses, and what we've learned is that horses actually, they're kind of the bridge or the opening of conversation when I do my wagon rides and we put the kids, and you see these First Nation kids and Métis kids, just like me, because I try and tell them my story, being someone that was kind of always on the bottom and had to fight for everything.
Right.
That you just got to fight and keep getting up and put one. It's easier said than done, but really, to me the first step in anything is just getting up.
Right.
Right. Yeah. If you want to shut down, shutting down, laying there, closing the door, and beating yourself, well, that's not going to solve anything.
No, you don't
find
get
a way to get up. Yeah. And so when we go to these northern communities, we do about a 3-day event. So we're working programs now where we want to be able to go and actually So what the horses do, and and I've learned more now that I'm dealing with the equine. So horses pick up your heart rate. So
Absolutely.
once you get about 5 yards away from a horse, they pick up your nervousness, your relaxation, whatever it may be. Yeah. And you'll see as a horse, well, I've seen it now with these kids, especially kids that are on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
They just cling to these animals, and it's amazing to see.
Absolutely.
So we were in a northern community, and we had a lot of these kids are what's the term that Andre uses? It's they're nonverbal.
Okay, nonverbal. Okay.
And we had all the teachers they were crying because one of the kids that's nonverbal actually said the word horse.
Oh, really?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have felt so good.
Yeah. So, and this, it's like we come in and these kids just love the wagon but then they don't want to leave. So they happy, but then they're crying to leave. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with these young kids.
We have a program here, Rich. I don't know if it still exists today, but in my 20s, I was going through a little something, and I met this woman, and she had a huge heart, and she had some emotional issues on her own. So she volunteered, and she brought me in with her. The Nassau County Police Department, the PVA, had a program teaching autistic children and children on the spectrum to ride horses. And I was one of those volunteers for 2 years.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so cool.
I loved it.
It's therapeutic.
I could not get enough. And then after all that time, they figured out I wasn't really qualified to be doing it, but I loved it. And I had a great time with the kids. I love to see them smile and laugh and just their whole energy, everything just changed.
Yeah,
it's amazing. On that horse.
Yeah, that's good on you. Because it's especially now after COVID, it's like there's so much struggle. Like, and partly, like I as a parent, and you guys as a parent know that, when I was a kid, I left on the weekends. I would leave in the morning at 8 a.m. and not come home till supper time, and my parents were okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Today, if my daughter or my son doesn't answer me in an hour, I start getting worried that something happened.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Too.
And everything is such at our fingertips that we get used to living like that. So we're always we're always anxious, I find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
We're very anxious. We're always trying. Yeah. So, even at 54 years old, you would think that things are supposed to calm down. And here I am now doing these wagon rides and the girl Andra that I'm working with, she was like, we were talking about this and she's going through her own addictions now. So I sat there as I've got 18 years of sobriety now, right? And I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't believe it. I'm dealing with an alcoholic again. Like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, so now I know what my wife went through.
Yeah.
Right.
And this girl, but she's doing really good. And she, like, it's like life, right? Relationships fall apart. And then you have to deal and she's been put in my path because she's now kind of facing some of her demons, which is good for her. And because she's awesome with the kids. She is really, really good with the kids. The kids love her. And how we've tried to separate ourselves from other equine people that are out there.
Right.
Our horses are beautiful. They're turned out. They're not just, it's like kids know a really nice car and a piece of crap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when they want to ride a nice horse, they don't want to ride a 25-year-old barely moving.
Yeah.
So our horses are actually really beautiful and the kids love them. And so, but that's just what we're seeing. And once we can get them to love that part of it, well, now they're hanging out with us. They're brushing the horse. And a lot of kids that don't want to really open up, we find they start opening up to us and talking about stuff, but having a bad day. And that's what it is. It's just talking. It's
great. It's
able
just
to
making
talk.
that connection,
Yeah. And
that's
so
what it's all about.
Yeah. And I think that's, I'm loving what I'm doing. So my coaching career, I would probably say is done now because I had a very small window to be able to start making phone calls to friends of mine. So I said, to hell with it. I said, I'm enjoying this and I'm going to build this program with Andra and do it for as long. We'll ride the wave or whatever you want to call it and hopefully make some changes to people's lives. And
a lot of people.
Yeah. Sure. So I get to be around horses and training them and
Love it.
I love it. And
Awesome.
I've gotten bucked off actually. I got bucked off here about 4 or 5 months ago, but I ended up breaking like 3 ribs.
Oh
Really?
my gosh.
Holy cow.
I never, so I'm with my
Go through that
daughter.
whole-
My daughter's loves horses, right? So her and I I'm riding a younger horse, and we're like, I ride bareback when I'm breaking my young ones, and just with a halter. So I'm
Right.
trying to give him less to see, trusting me and blah blah blah. And anyway, this horse was coming along pretty good. He had some prior issues when I got him, and he just got scared of a rip of a Velcro, and he took off the bucking, and he
Oh,
piled me.
yikes.
And I knew when I hit the ground, like I hit the ground hard. I was like,
Ugh,
this is not good.
You go through
no.
14
And I had,
seasons.
so
I know,
broke-
14
NHL.
seasons in the NHL,
Yeah, yeah.
but this was
Did you
your
ever break,
worst.
did you break a rib and playing hockey? or
Never,
no?
never
Never
broke
did
a
that.
rib, and I laugh like I get the giggles like really bad when I start laughing. Well, I couldn't laugh, couldn't sneeze, couldn't
Yeah,
cough. It
that
was
hurt,
terrible.
right.
Oh,
It's painful breaking a rib.
very
It was
painful.
awful. It was awful.
I have
So-
one last question, Rich, and then we're
Yep.
going to have to let you go. And I would love to do a part 2 with you.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
maybe,
Oh,
down the
absolutely.
road that
Yeah,
we
great.
could finish.
I
this
can't
up.
believe I have some like pretty cool stories. I hope you guys do bring me back because there's some pretty cool
Oh,
stories that I have that
absolutely.
happened on the
Hell
island.
yeah.
Yeah, so
No,
shoot
we're
anyway.
going to bring you back.
We
We'll
should have
bring you
another
back
hour.
in maybe
Yeah.
like in the next 4 weeks or so.
Yeah.
I'll get
Yeah,
in
for
touch
sure.
with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, there's definitely no
Do you
worries.
ever get to New York?
I haven't been to New York. I was going to go to New York this past when they had their alumni when the Islanders brought in all the guys,
Yes.
and I was booked to go, but that's when I broke my rib a week before,
Oh, okay. Oh,
and I couldn't wait to go because I lost. When I was coaching, I gained a lot of weight. I went up to like 287, which is way too heavy for me. And then I did a weight loss challenge with some friends of mine. You basically throw money in, and the pot
yeah.
gets
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
high.
That's the way to do
So
it.
it was a 45-day challenge. So I ended up losing I lost 43 pounds in 45 days.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
And I didn't even win. I was like 4th. So
wow.
I don't know.
so then I lost all my weight that I'd gained. I'm back to more like my playing weight, and so I couldn't get to go, but I wanted to go because Mick Vakota and I were such good friends, and we haven't seen each other.
I'm friends
he's
with
pretty-
Nick on Facebook.
And he's
Nice
pretty.
guy.
He got pretty heavy, and we competed at everything. We always joked about our weights, and because back then we got weighted every Monday, and if you were every pound over was $200.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And I always fought my weight all the time. And Al was always riding me above my weight. And,
Yeah.
Mick and I have some stories. We went bungee jumping one time at OBI.
Well,
And,
maybe we should have you and Mick together.
honestly, it
Oh.
would be fun if we were,
Let's
because we haven't,
do
Look at
that.
that.
yeah,
Wow.
we should,
Oh,
because
we
we
have
got
to
stories
do
about
that.
each other that it
Yeah.
is
Okay.
hilarious.
We're going to do that.
2
And
hour special.
twice a month, we actually do an extra half an hour. We sign off just for like a quick 2 minutes, and then we come back on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that last half hour, we can say whatever we want, which is great. But yeah, I'm definitely going to.
Yeah, well, you guys should get, because there's,
Nick.
yeah, I think you guys we'd have a lot of fun because Mick and I have so much dirt on each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we have a lot of dirt on each other.
That's good.
All right,
Yeah.
Rich, thank you
Well-
so very much for doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, I so appreciate it. I was a huge fan. I still am. And we're going to definitely continue this with a part 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I
I'll
am going
be
to come back to New York.
back
My
tomorrow.
plan is to come up to New York this year. So
I would
Yeah.
love you have to let me know. We'll take you out for dinner.
Yeah.
yeah,
sweet.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, you guys. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Hopefully we'll
Appreciate
see you
it,
guys
buddy.
soon.
You're great.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Take care.
night.
You guys have a great night too. Bye-bye.
Take-
Take care, Rich.
Thank you.
All right. Wow. So we
Wow, that
only
was
have
great.
5 minutes left. That was intense. You guys have no idea. I'm still excited. I'm all tingly on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
inside because I seriously had like the biggest crush on Rich when I was in my 20s.
I know. Yeah. you
I
tell me.
mean, literally every practice, me and my girl
You were there.
Dawn, we were
Just
there
for him.
for him and Brian Perot.
You gotta find that picture.
I have to
I
find
would
the
love to see.
pictures.
Maybe,
Dawn actually might have them.
next
I'm
time he
gonna-
comes back, you can surprise him if he's not watching.
yeah, I have them somewhere.
Yeah, I want to see it. Yeah.
But I didn't even get to. I had 2 pictures of him when he was younger playing. I was just so
Oh, really?
involved with that interview. Sorry, guys, I didn't
Yeah,
get
I
to
know.
respond to everyone.
I
We
know.
see all your
I was
comments.
trying to read a couple of
Thank
questions.
you so much for hanging in with us. And I apologize for not being able to interact, but I will go back and I will answer your questions. if you had any for me
Yeah.
or comments. Ed Drabinski, we love your humor. You're a blast. And yeah, Bruno's saying horses are amazing creatures. They truly are. They're magical.
Yeah.
They're magical. I always say that horses are unicorns just missing their horns.
The horns. Yeah.
I think horses are magical no matter what. Yeah, so what do we got left?
You got 9 minutes.
No, we actually have 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
We have to be off by 5 of. So we've got 4 minutes left. So I think I'm going to do a quick douche of the week.
Douche of the week.
Let's say, well, it was National Trail Mix Day.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what Frank is
That's
eating.
why I was eating before to advertise the day.
Yes.
That's
So
got my
I
name.
made Trail Mix.
That's
So
got my
happy
name.
National Trail Mix Day.
My name on the bag, because in case I get lost, my mommy will.
For all of you that are my history buffs, the history on this, it was 2 California surfers claimed the creation of trail mix in 1968. They put peanuts and raisins. That was their trail
No trail mix, really?
Yeah. That's how that was their energy thing.
That's goobers and raisinets. Well, minus the chocolate.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, it's good for you. And you can literally make your own. And it's so much cheaper to make your
You
own.
made this, right?
I bought bags.
That's unbelievable.
The purple little thingies that look like chocolate chips, but they're purple. Those are actually baby food. Those are berry flavored yogurt melts.
They look like little garlic.
That literally melt in your mouth,
cloves.
and they're sweet and it's so good. And then we have pretzels and dark chocolate chips, mango, banana chips, sunflower seeds. Like there's so much stuff in there, and it's all good stuff. It's all good for you.
Chocolate chips.
Dark chocolate chips. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah. So what else?
Right.
All right. Well, let's do actually, this is a what is in the box. Don't worry, I'm not going to steal it. I got my own. Don't you worry. A quick what is in the box. We got 2 minutes left. What other NHL team unveiled their newly designed jersey the same day the Islanders unveiled the Fisherman jersey?
Oh my God. I
Oh,
have
it's
no
a
idea.
good one. I
Really?
know it. I know it. We were just talking about them before. So you can answer that next week.
Is it the team that Rich's son plays for now?
Man, you got a big mouth. It's just
But they may not remember.
they're gonna.
Well,
it's not the Rangers. It's all right. We'll get to
You
that
said
next.
we mentioned it before.
We're
Okay.
in trouble. Anyway, announcements real quick. Open jam tomorrow night. Come down to Paradise Studios. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. We have a great band. I forgot the name of it. I actually have a flyer. Hold on. Let's post it. Why not? We have like a minute left. It's not that one. Hold, please. Where is it? There it is. There it is. The Clark Twins will be performing the first hour. Yes. Wait, can I reach?
Look
There
at
it
this.
is.
Wow.
Check it out.
I like that
I love
there.
when
That's
we do
nice.
that. You're a blast, Frank. You're a blast. But we love you all. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you guys next week.
Yes.
Great show. Great interview.
Very nice. Oh man, I had
See
fun
you
with that
guys
one.
next
See you
week.
guys.
Peace out.